Well, you could really feel the air go out of the building after that Lakers loss to the Timberwolves, couldn't you? First round exit. Just wow.
Oh, absolutely. A real shocker for Laker Nation.
Yeah.
And, that kind of thing immediately puts the spotlight on the big question.
For sure. And the biggest one right now seems to be Luka Doncic. What's his future with the team look like, especially with these contract decisions looming?
Exactly. When you have a superstar like Doncic, especially after a playoff disappointment, his long-term commitment becomes priority number one.
Right. So for this deep dive, we've been looking at some reports. Yardbarker had a piece referencing hardwood heroics and ESPN as well.
Some good sources there.
Yeah, trying to get a handle on it. Our plan today is really to unpack, the contract stuff facing Doncic, what LeBron James himself has said, and what it all means for the Lakers going forward.
Sounds good. Let's dive in. So first things first, where does Doncic stand right now, contract-wise?
Okay, so he's locked in, guaranteed for next season. That much is clear.
One more year under contract, but then comes the big one. The player option, yeah. For the 2026-27 season, it's worth, what, around $49 million? That's the number, yeah, $49 million. And that player option, well, it puts a massive amount of control right into Doncic's hands.
Can you maybe quickly explain what that means, the player option, for anyone who's not totally sure?
Sure. So basically, when that year comes around, Doncic gets to decide. Does he opt in and play that season for the Lakers for the $49 million? Or does he opt out, become a free agent, and potentially sign anywhere, including maybe a new deal with the Lakers or somewhere else entirely?
Gotcha. So big choice there. Stay for the guaranteed money or test the market.
Exactly. And speaking of new deals, the Lakers could try to get ahead of that. They could offer him an extension before he even has to make that option decision.
Okay. And we've had some numbers floated around, right, from Dave McMenamin at ESPN.
We have. There seem to be a couple of potential paths the Lakers might offer.
What's the first one?
The big one, a 4-year maximum contract extension. We're talking potentially around $229 million.
Whoa. Okay, that's a statement. Locking him up long term.
Definitely. That signals you are the future, Luka. No question about it.
But there was another option mentioned too, a bit different.
Yeah, a shorter deal. A 3-year extension, reportedly around $165 million. And this one apparently also includes a player option, but for the 2028-29 season.
Interesting. So one long-term commitment, one slightly shorter with more flexibility built in later for Doncic.
Right. It kind of gives Doncic options depending on what he prioritizes,
Yeah.
Max security versus maybe keeping his options open a bit sooner. Could also relate to uncertainty around LeBron's own timeline, perhaps.
That makes sense. They're covering their bases, potentially. Okay, so let's pivot to LeBron James. Obviously, his voice carries enormous weight. What did he say about all of this during his exit interview?
Well, this was maybe the most surprising part. He seemed very intentional about distancing himself from the actual negotiations.
How so?
He flat out said, "That ain't my job," referring to the extension talks, which, coming from LeBron, is kind of noteworthy.
Yeah, really. You'd almost expect him to be right in the middle of trying to keep a guy like Doncic around.
Me too. But he gave some reasoning. He pointed out the age gap. She's turning 40, Doncic is 26.
Right.
And he said very directly that Doncic can't be basing his career off me. That's just real.
Wow. That's quite a statement, acknowledging their different points in their careers.
It really is. It shows, I think, an understanding that Doncic has his own path to forge. And maybe LeBron doesn't want his presence or eventual absence to unduly influence that decision. It's almost like giving Doncic permission to think about himself first.
That's actually pretty mature when you think about it, respectful of Doncic's own agency.
Totally. But that doesn't mean he doesn't want Doncic to stay. He was clear about that, too.
Okay, so what did he say there?
He said, but I hope, obviously, he stays long term. So the desire is there. He just isn't going to, interfere in the business side of it.
He's making his preference known without applying direct pressure on the contract detail.
Exactly. And he also brought up the fans.
Oh, yeah. What about them?
He mentioned how much the fans in L.A. love Doncic. Said, Laker fans love him here. L.A. has accepted him.
That's got to count for something, right? Feeling that connection with the city and the fan base.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
It's not always just about the money or the X's and O's. Feeling wanted, feeling embraced by a place, that can be a huge factor for players.
Absolutely. Did he say anything about their personal relationship as teammates?
Yeah, he did. He called Doncic a teammate as a brother. which, highlights that personal connection they seem to have built, that chemistry matters.
For sure. Good locker room vibes, strong relationships. That definitely helps keep guys around.
No doubt. But even with all that positive stuff, the hope he stays, the fan love, the brotherhood drawness, LeBron kept circling back to one main point.
Which was?
That it's Luka's decision. He said,
right.
But ultimately he's got to make a decision for him. Just reinforcing that idea that this is Doncic's career, his choice.
Taking himself out of the equation again.
Yeah. And then he had that kind of self-deprecating line about his own future.
Oh, right. What was it?
He just threw in, Sess, I ain't going to be around much longer.
Huh. Yeah, just dropping that in there. Blunt.
Pretty blunt. But it underlines his whole point. Right. He's acknowledging, look, my clock is ticking in this league. You've got potentially another decade or more. You need to make the choice that sets you up.
It's like a blend of wanting him to stay, but also giving him his blessing to prioritize his own long-term view, because LeBron knows he won't be part of that entire picture.
Perfectly put. And there was one more related point. LeBron mentioned the original trade that brought Doncic to the Lakers.
What did he say about that?
He framed it as a move the Lakers made for the future, adding, that's not for me.
Interesting. So positioning the Doncic acquisition as something bigger than just his own remaining tenure.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Like the organization saw Doncic as a foundational piece for the long haul, beyond just the LeBron era. A strategic, future-proofing kind of move.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up then. We've got Doncic facing these massive contract choices. Stay, extend long, extend shorter, maybe eventually leave.
Huge financial stakes involved.
Huge. And then you have LeBron, the face of the franchise, basically saying, I hope you stay, man. Everyone loves you here, but this is your call. Don't base it on me.
Yep. He's stepping back from the direct negotiation, but making his personal feelings and his view of the situation pretty clear. It's a complex dynamic.
It really is. So the big question we want to leave you, the listener, with is this. When you weigh LeBron's perspective, the money, the Laker legacy, the team's recent performance, what do you think is the most likely outcome for Luka Doncic?
Yeah, what's your gut feeling? Does he take the long-term security? Does he prefer flexibility?
And what factors beyond just the cash might sway him? Is it about winning championships now? Is it about being the guy somewhere, his comfort level in LA?
Lots to think about. It's going to be a fascinating offseason to watch how this unfolds for Doncic and for the Lakers. Definitely keep digging into these team-building dynamics because there's always more beneath the surface.